What's up? What's up? What's up? How is my audio over there? All five of you guys that are here. I guess posting that we're going to watch a 3D movie. Not a lot of people are interested in 3D movies, huh? But tomorrow marks the official release of Dune on 4K Blu-ray and 3D Blu-ray, or physical media altogether. It's been out on streaming for a few months, or about like a month and a half or so, on HBO Max and also on iTunes and like on Vudu. So tomorrow is the official day. I got a copy of the 4K disc, I think like 3 weeks ago now, and I put it on my what was the word? My honorable mention list for best 4K Blu-rays of 2021, because it officially came out in 2022, so I couldn't really give it a numerical value for the top 10 list for last year. So I did keep it as an honorable mention, just so you guys would probably know that it's most likely going to be near the top of the list for 2022, for this year. But today we are going to watch and review Dune on 3D. I was going to do like a formal review for this today, but I figured why not have a couple cocktails and then watch the movie as we go along. Maybe answer some questions with you guys. But let's look at a few tech specs on Dune really quick, so I can bring that up over on IMDb, which I know wasn't shot. I know this movie wasn't shot in IMAX. I do recall that it was shot in only 4.5K, so it wasn't actually shot in IMAX. So let me just confirm that. Here we go. Tech specs. All right. Let me just hit the record button. So I'm going to record this time, so when I do edit it, it looks official and doesn't look like I just upscaled the 720p footage like I did for Pirates of the Caribbean. And if you guys saw Pirates of the Caribbean, one of the worst 4K Blu-rays to come out, like ever. What's up, AA? Yeah, Dune sequel is in the works. I think they made it official after the first one came out. But let me see. Let me make sure my 3D glasses are even working. All right, so 3D glasses are working. So let me see, tech specs. We've got, it's an hour 55 minutes, 4.5K. Okay. Good review on Pirates. Oh, thank you. I don't even know if it was really a review. We were just kind of just chilling out and just watching it, so that was okay. Let's see. All right, so let's shoot this official. Let's give this an official review. StreamYard. Get my remote. All right, so welcome to the stream tonight, guys. Tonight we are going to be checking out Dune on 3D Blu-ray. I'm going to be watching the film on the Sony 325 ES projector, which has 3D capabilities. If you are lucky enough to have a 3D projector or a 3D television set, in this day and age right now in 2022, I would say consider yourself fortunate, because as of right now, 3D television sets have been extinct for the past few years. So 3D has been kind of relegated to 3D projectors. And that's pretty much it. And if you wanted to get a 3D movie, I think maybe WB is the only company, manufacturer, that's been making 3D on physical media as of late. And if you wanted to get any other 3D movies, it's always, you have to purchase it on Amazon. You're going to have to import it from like Germany or Italy or France or Spain or Japan. I think most of the Marvel movies come from Japan. Usually if I'm getting a 3D movie, typically I hit up eBay, because eBay's on, usually there's sellers on eBay that will sell 3D movies. And then of course you can always import it on Amazon. I know a lot of folks have had some pretty good luck getting 3D movies imported with Amazon, where it only takes them a couple of days. For this one here, I did purchase it off of eBay. I would leave a link in the description, but I think that seller is probably gone by now, empty by now. But I did leave links on the community tab on the standard channel and Spare Change for the American version. I think there's some links also for like the Italian version as well. But for those wondering, this disc for subtitles, I know that's kind of a popular request. For this, we've got French subtitles, Deutsch, and Espanol, and then English as well. English for the hearing. I can't really read it because it's blurry, but English, French, Deutsch, and then Spanish as well. So those are the included subtitles and matching audio also. The audio on this disc, is not in Dolby Atmos. It's only in DTS HD 5.1. I left a link here in the video's description if you wanted to learn how to remux your audio. So if you wanted to remux your audio and take your 3D disc and take the audio off of either your standard 2D Blu-ray or your 4K Blu-ray, there's a link in the video's description, also in the chat here, which you can click on, which will take you to an AVS forums page, and it'll show you how to remux your Atmos audio into your 3D disc. And I did do that earlier. I watched a few minutes of the movie, but I didn't watch the entirety. I mean, we're not going to watch the entirety tonight. We'll watch a few scenes, a few chapters. But I did remux the Atmos audio on this 3D disc and retained the DTS 5.1 track as well. So let's go ahead, go over a few tech specs. The movie is 155 minutes long. It was shot in 4.5K with IMAX certified ARRI cameras. So it was not shot with IMAX cameras. It was only formatted for IMAX. And there are no switching IMAX aspect ratios in this movie. I believe it's also PG-13, and it does have a 4K DI, although obviously this is not a 4K disc, it's only 3D. This movie also was not shot in 3D. It was a 3D post-converted movie, so it was not natively shot with 3D. Although I did read a post on one of the websites where they were talking with the cinematographer, where there are special versions for the 4K in both IMAX, scope, 16:9, 1.4, 1.9, 3D, 2D 3D, IMAX 3D, Dolby Vision 3D. So there are very different variations of this movie for theatrical exhibition. But today we are going to be checking out the standard 3D Blu-ray. All right, so let's get this going, man. I will be using some Expand 3D glasses. These are the X105 BT or something like that. I don't know the exact model number, but I know these are Expand glasses. So I will leave a link for these glasses in the video description down below. These, there you go, hold on a second. So these are the Expand Vision. So they charge up, I don't know, maybe like an hour or so. I haven't really timed it, but I usually leave it on the charger if I'm not using them. these things seemingly last forever. I don't even know how many movies I can go through with these, but I feel like I sit here for hours and I watch several movies and all for one charge. So these things are legit. Used to be able to get these for like $30 at Best Buy, but I think Best Buy stopped carrying them about 2 years ago. But I think you can catch them on Amazon sales here and there. They're only like 35, $40 or something like that. Let's go ahead. Tonight's drink of choice is a fan favorite on the channel. This is Stella Artois. We're doing the Stella tonight. Almost done with that first bottle, but let's go. Let's go. Oh, for all the folks that are like, for all the folks that are like, 3D sucks because people hate 3D because they hate wearing glasses. And especially if you have glasses, you can't wear 3D glasses. Well, that's false. I take the 3D glasses and I just put them over my regular glasses, just like so. And they kind of just like sit in my normal glasses. My normal glasses are obviously bigger than these ones, so the bottoms hang out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, this looks totally fine to me. They look like bifocals, right? Like the top half 3D, bottom half not really. But it covers my whole circumference. It's got a nice wide field of view, at least with these glasses. And right from the get-go, this is your standard Warner Brothers 3D menu, 4K menu. The bottom half of the screen kind of pops out at your face, and then the wallpaper is inset back. So there's a little pop out at least with the 3D menus. So let's go ahead, hit the play button. Go to scene selections. Whoops, that's chapter 18. Wrong chapter. Give me a second here. Let me start this over. Let's go to menu. Let me turn that volume down because YouTube will copyright me for that 1 second of audio. But who we got in the chat here really quick? Yeah, man, tonight's a Stella night. Man, what is going on here? We have some technical difficulties. What is happening with this? Oops, sorry. This is what happens when you remux your disc and you play it back on a media player. Sometimes it gets stuck on the menu. Maybe someday streaming will have 3D. I do believe back in the day, Netflix did offer streaming on their service, but I think they stopped a few years back. The funny thing is, like, not many people even knew that Netflix streamed 3D, and then it just like disappeared because they stopped selling 3D TVs. Man, hold on. I had to restart my disc. The good thing is if you know how to remux 3D and Atmos, I like to keep it in ISO format. That way, if I wanted to burn it on disc, I could burn it on disc and play back at a Blu-ray player. All right, let's go. Hit play. And if you wanted to strip out all the audio and subtitles to save space, you can do that as well. I know people like to take their 4K discs and rip them and strip them of all the extraneous other languages. And audio tracks are pretty big. They're a few gigs each. So if you were to take something like a like a 100 gig or like an 86 gig 4K Blu-ray, and you were to rip it with like any DVD, that 86 gig disc minus several languages would come down to something like 60 gigs. So there's like 20 gigs of different audio tracks, you know, if you were to rip your movies and back them up on a hard drive. All right, so let me turn off the subtitles. Come on, subtitles. All right, see what we're just kicking this off right now. So right from the start with the sand, right from the start with the sand, 3D quality. I'm gonna say the 3D quality looks pretty kind of average. You're not gonna confuse this transfer for a Marvel movie, that's for sure. So the first chapter, if you saw the movie, there's a lot of beige, a lot of gray, it's all sand. They're in the desert. There's actually, this is actually pretty good here. I don't know what his name is, but the guy with the gun, Zendaya's here. And that's actually really good. Her face is kind of popped out a little bit from the screen. Now we got the Harkonnens coming into the scene, overlooking the entire field. And that looks pretty good. You got Batista's kind of like right in your face, and the depth is really good. And the good thing, you know, with good 3D transfers, it's like when you look at faces and they don't look like cardboard cutouts, and there's contouring around their face, like around their nose, like there's depth around their nose and there's depth around their cheeks, like actual like roundness to their face where it looks like it was shot natively. That's what this looks like. And there is, it could be the projector, I don't want to say for 100%, but in this scene where they're shooting the missiles down on the soldiers on the ground here, I want to say I see a little bit of banding. I mean, that could be the projector, but in the sand, I want to say there's a little bit of banding there, which is a little strange because I don't think I've ever seen banding on this projector yet. And I've watched a bunch of 3D movies on the Sony 325 ES. And at least in that particular shot, when the missiles were coming down, I did notice some slight banding. Now we are on the Dune logo, which lasts for like a half a second. You know, as far as like depth and everything, depth is really good. Seems really good. It's not as deep as a Marvel movie, but right from the start, it looks pretty decent. Obviously a dark scene. This has got that little lantern thing that almost comes out of the screen, but not really. Here's a landscape of Caladan. That is fairly flat looking, except for the title card where it says Caladan that comes out. And just like overall, man, just right from the get-go, I'm going to say like a medium level of 3D depth. There's a shot of Jessica and her son sitting at the table, and that's like almost 2D. But this, yeah, I'm going to say like medium to very low levels of depth. At least right now. I mean, I'll let this play out a little bit more. Maybe something will pop up. But right now, this looks kind of average, at least to me. I don't know if I would choose this over the 4K version, but it's definitely a fun way to watch it. I mean, I like it. Usually, like, I'm a big 3D fan. I would typically choose a 3D movie over a 4K movie. I'm kind of on the fence about this one, at least the first few minutes in, if I would choose this one over the 4K. What is the size of the screen you're watching? I am watching on a 120-inch CinemaScope screen. So it's a 2.39 screen, so the movie fits the exact width of the screen. So I don't have any black bars like you would get on a television screen. So this fits my entire field of view, basically. And, I'm one of those few people that didn't get upset that they didn't release this in IMAX. And for you guys wondering, there are no IMAX scenes in this. This is straight 239 by 1, so there are no switching IMAX ratios. I know with Marvel movies, sometimes they will tend to... hold on. So there's a scene right here, the first shot of the Harkonnens, the Iraqis out in the desert. And this desert scene looks really good there. This close-up shot of Zendaya looks really good too. So really good depth, actually, and separation on the scene here on Arrakis. So that kind of caught my attention. The Star Wars flyover shot with that ship, or the portal, whatever it is. I don't know what it's called, but whatever their time travel portal tube or whatever. Now here's a good looking scene. This is where that big ship comes down, which would look really awesome in IMAX. And you could tell this is an IMAX scene because it just, the sheer size doesn't quite fit 239. Okay, anyways, what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, my screen size. My screen size is 239 by 1. So for this movie, I didn't mind that there was no IMAX. Typically, I don't even care if it's an IMAX or not because I do have a 239 screen, and I would prefer it to be in 239 so it fits my screen rather than 16 by 9. And more Zendaya, yeah. From what I hear, like I never read the books, but I did see the original Dune movie, the David Lynch version, which I don't know how anybody can watch this movie and compare it to the David Lynch version and say they prefer the David Lynch version, which is like a B-level movie. I understand for the time, the effects and everything, but I mean, hey, it came out the same time as Star Wars did. Star Wars still holds up today with all its practical effects. But Dune just looks sad. It is so sad. I don't even know what the deal is with that cat in the cage. I was waiting, like I never read the books, but I was waiting to watch in this movie. I was like, where's the cat? Is there a cat in the cage anywhere in this story? Because there was no cat in the cage in this movie. So when I see some of the comments where they're just like, folks are like, I prefer the 1980s version of this movie. Jesus, man, that's laughable. Was some filmed in IMAX? There's no part of this movie that was filmed in IMAX. It was shot in 4.5K with just kind of standard cameras, standard Arri cameras. Give me a sec here. What's this? Three. But yeah, no, none of this movie was shot in IMAX. The entire movie was shot 4.5K. It was digitally, obviously, it's 4.5K. But then they rescanned it back onto 35 millimeter film, so you get that light layer of grain throughout. And let's talk about the grain layer here. This is 3D. I mean, it's not as sharp and crisp as 4K, so I don't see any grain whatsoever in this transfer. I think there was an article stating that some of the IMAX, some of the IMAX versions of this movie, they foregone the 35 mil conversion and just made it a straight digital print. I'll link that article in the video's description. But I read that, and then I think that pertained to the 3D also. At least that's the word, that the IMAX versions, they didn't have the digital, the film to digital conversion. And the word is that this doesn't either, which I can almost see because I don't see any grain in this. So I don't know if this 3D just isn't resolving enough to see grain, but I definitely don't see any grain in this. Of course, it's not as sharp as 4K. And, you know, resolution-wise, clarity-wise, detail-wise, it is, clearly it's softer than the 4K version. Right now we're looking at the first time Duncan meets up with Paul. Good depth here. I mean, clean bokeh in the background, but, you know, I'm not seeing like the peach fuzz on Paul's face. The edges are definitely softer. Still no grain. But what you are gaining is that extra depth. And for this particular scene here, when they're in the hangar, really good depth. No real pop outs, but still nice mid levels of depth. No cardboard cutouts whatsoever. Very clean, very soft as well. But if you are, listen, if you're a grain hater, this is clean. This is just as clean as what a Marvel movie would look like. What else here? Something IMAX. So you're waiting for the dual 4K box set, Dune 1 and 2, and maybe 3. If you are waiting to purchase this movie to get a box set, you're willing to wait, geez, 3, 4, 5 years just to own these movies? Listen, I don't know. You're a very patient man. You're a very patient person. I also noticed banding on my Sony. I think it's just the movie itself. Do you know if the new JVC NZ7 has better 3D this time? I don't know if the JVC, the new NZs, have better 3D, but I am on the list to get a NZ7 and NZ8, and I should be picking up an NZ9 for my own personal usage. So I think we're looking at sometime in March to get to get any one of those projectors. So I've been steadily waiting. I know there's some people on YouTube and some people in some of the forums that have gotten them through their dealers, but I haven't gotten them yet. I'm still waiting on mine. Patiently waiting, or impatiently waiting rather. Oh shit, glasses on top of glasses. There ain't nothing wrong with little glasses on top of glasses. It's not like these glasses weigh a lot. These literally, they just kind of like piggyback off my regular glasses and they just hang there. They look real nice. I mean, they're very comfortable. I don't even know they're there. You know, the comment that I like as well, and sometimes I'll put up a 3D post or a 3D review and people will just be like, people absolutely hate wearing 3D glasses. That's why 3D has failed. People don't want glasses. People don't want anything on their face. And I'm just like, listen, I feel really sad for the people that wear glasses every day of their lives because they always got something on their face. Like, I've always got glasses on my face. So to say that people just despise having something on their face, kind of a stupid thing to say because, shit, there's a ton of people that always wear glasses. How ridiculous of a statement is that? People don't like to wear shit on their face. Tony Stark, the grain is so thin on this. Man, I don't know where you're seeing grain, but I don't see a damn thing here. I don't see any grain on this. I mean, it could just be because this is not the brightest projector. Actually, you know what? Let me put this on. I think I still have this on low lamp mode. Let me put this on high, because maybe I'm just not seeing it. Oh yeah, that definitely looks better for sure. I hate putting it on high because then I hear the fan. But it's a clean looking movie. Like, I don't see any grain. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Is there a light layer of grain? I just don't see any. Yeah, man, this is a clean looking transfer. I mean, the contrast is nice. I'm gonna say the contrast, like the black levels, they look like the 4K. The 4K doesn't have the deepest black levels. They're actually slightly raised. I mean, I think it was a visual look that they were going for, where the blacks are a little on the light side. So it gives it a softer look, so you don't get the deepest, darkest black levels. And I'm going to say this is the same look that's on the 4K disc. Very similar to what we're getting here on the 3D as well. Here's a good part. Like, Paul is tapping the blade on his hand. His fingers semi come out of the screen, just a little bit. You know, I'm not seeing any. Man, I'm gonna say, do I see some ghosting? Like, I have an anamorphic lens on my projector, so I think at times maybe I might see what looks to be a little bit of crosstalk, but I don't really notice it on any other movie, and I see maybe a little bit of crosstalk in this movie. Like, I haven't seen it on any Marvel movies, but I see a little bit here around. We're having the Paul and I forgot his name here, Thanos fight, and around the light in the background, I see a little bit of halo around the light in the background. I mean, it could be the projector, it could be the fact that I have an anamorphic lens attached to it, but I am seeing a little halo around the light, which I know I didn't see on the 4K disc. Like, if you guys have seen that as well, then type it in the comment section. No grain in the 4K disc either. No, the 4K disc has grain. These are the expand glasses. We spoke about it a little bit earlier. They're expand vision glasses. But let's skip a little. Let me skip ahead a little bit here. Check out some different scenes. I'm not trying to sit here for 2.5 hours, watch this whole movie. Oh, so there's this part where the Bene Gesserit, you know, in the dark, where they're going back to their ship. And that floating light, I'm getting some crosstalk on this floating light. I mean, it could be my projector, it could be the fact that I have a lens on here. I mean, it's very possible, but I am seeing a little bit of halo around that light. The 3D does not have any Imax scenes, no. Looking forward to your next projector review, hopefully earlier than March. I've got, I think we got the Hisense. I'm going to pick up the Hisense L9 Thursday, so I could do a little comparison with the Hisense PX1. Because at least from the shootout, the L9 had really bad black levels, whereas the PX1 had pretty good black levels. So I'm gonna compare the two and see if the cheaper projector has better black levels than the more expensive version, which I think is going to be interesting. And also, I also want to, whoever has the best black levels, I'm going to compare it with the Sony 325. So like long throw against ultra short throw, which I think some people would find interesting because I could see the attraction to an ultra short throw since they are way brighter than a standard long throw. The only thing about building a home theater, like a dedicated theater space with an ultra short throw, is that if you can't mount it on your ceiling, it's kind of hard to place it in front of the screen and kind of like make it disappear in the room. You know what I mean? But I could see if you're going to mount it on your ceiling, that way you have a space for the center channel under the screen, or if you're going to place the center channel behind the screen, that works as well. But I think for some folks that are interested in seeing that, I mean, I'm going to be picking up the L9 ultra short throw Thursday, so be on the lookout for that review. In the last stream, you made me hype about Ghostbusters Afterlife. Can't wait to see that crispiness. It's a good looking movie. I think it comes out, what, February 1st? Right, so here's the scene where the ship is coming out of the water, which is clearly an Imax scene. I know I didn't see this movie in IMAX, but I know this is an Imax scene. And that looks somewhat flat. It looks somewhat 2D-ish. You would think that'd be very 3D, but that is not as impressive as I thought it would be. Although this follow-up scene with Paul overlooking the water looks really good with the 3D landscape in the back, the ship in the background there, kind of Rise of Skywalker-esque. Very good 3D in that scene. And very bright too. One of the very few outdoor bright scenes in this movie. So that is a standout scene. Man, I gotta skip ahead a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, so the 3D Blu-ray for Ghostbusters, I'm probably gonna have that up probably end of this week. So you can look out for that review I don't even, what's today? Today's Monday. So maybe Friday. Godzilla vs. Kong 3D was impressive. Man, did I even see that? I'm pretty sure I saw it. I do have it. I think the last 3D I saw besides this one was Shang-Chi. And that was decent. Marvel always does really good 3D discs. Now here's the scene where Gurney and Paul's dad, I can't think of his name. What the hell is his name? Oh, Oscar Isaac. Here we go. So here's the scene with Oscar Isaac and Gurney. They're overlooking Arrakis. And this particular scene has really good depth in it. Now they're talking. The background is nicely blurred out. Got Gurney standing foreground, Oscar kind of in the middle, and then the backdrop is very bokeh'd out. So that looks still not the deepest, but I'm going to say slightly above medium levels of depth. So this movie has varying degrees of depth and separation from everything that I've been seeing so far. A little bit harder in these darker scenes, We've got Jessica talking to the maids right now, and let's say this is a medium layer of depth. I'm going to say a notch below medium layer of depth. Of course, darker scenes are hard to show depth and separation, and this is definitely one of those types of scenes. Let's skip to the next chapter here. Here's the scene with the spider creature. And if this particular scene, very dark scene, and the spider creature's butt is kind of at the top of the screen, almost like it's coming out of the screen, and then the legs are pushed forward. So I mean, there's some pretty good depth in that particular shot there. But the rest of the scene here is it's very dark, and I'm gonna say very 2D-esque. And I am getting a little bit of crosstalk right around bald guy's head over here on the right side of the screen. The witch shot here, very nice, deep depth, separation. But overall, kind of a mixed bag on this transfer so far. Is the audio in Atmos or 5.1? The audio is only in DTS. But I did leave a link up in the comment section at the beginning. Just scroll back a little bit. It'll tell you how to mix your Atmos audio with your 3D video, if you so wish to do that. I also noticed crosstalk on this transfer. All right, so I feel a little bit vindicated. I feel like this projector is not the culprit behind the crosstalk. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. So, and that sucks because I like this movie, and I was a bit disappointed. I was a bit disappointed that there's some crosstalk in this. I don't know if you're watching it on a projector or a television set, but I have noticed several occasions where there's crosstalk in this. Yes, Shang-Chi 3D transfer is better than this one. I will agree with you there. Shang-Chi does look better than this one. I will say that I do prefer this movie, as far as enjoyability factor, over Shang-Chi, however. So there's some shots like this where now we're overlooking the spice area with the containers. This is a very bright scene, and I don't see any crosstalk here. Probably because it's so bright, it's masking the crosstalk. But there is some pretty good depth here as well. And this shots like this look, I would say I would prefer over the 4K disc because you do get that extra depth where the 4K just doesn't really show off. So stuff here with big landscapes, folks in the foreground, really immerses you more into the world of Arrakis and Dune, whereas the 4K just can't do. So here you're seeing the ornithopter and the folks on the ground. In the background, we've got Aquaman in the foreground. And in the background, you get this large scale, like, structure, which is the building. And it gives you this extra sense of scale. And it works in this shot Whereas on the 4K disc, everything's obviously it's flat, it's 2D. So you definitely get a better sense of scale in certain shots in this movie. Outdoor shots, specifically. I tried two different types of 3D glasses as well. Didn't help. I watched on a 120-inch screen. All right, so I guess it's the transfer. Is your 3D passive or shutter? It is shutter. I'm on the projector, so it's shutter. Cinema Lord. Cinema Lord. I could swear you have changed your username, have you not, Cinema Lord? Have you ever watched a 3D movie on the PSVR? I haven't watched a 3D movie on the PSVR, but I have watched a 3D movie on some Google Glasses, which I'm sure is very similar, if not the same. No Time to Die regular Blu-ray is region free for import from the US. I'm not sure about that one. Let's go ahead. We're going to skip ahead to the next chapter. See, these shots where they're outside look really good. I mean, look really good. I find it funny. Like sometimes, dude, like 3D gets like so much hate that even my wife used to be like, I hate 3D. Why do we got to go see a 3D movie? But then when we go and actually watch the movie, she'll just be like, wow, like blown away. I think the first time she was kind of like, she was like really adamant about watching. She didn't want to see a 3D movie, at least here in our home theater. Was Thor Ragnarok, and she was like, "Why can't we just watch the regular disc, the regular movie?" I was like, "Listen," I said, well, "Let's watch Thor Ragnarok on 3D," and that movie's got so much 3D depth, maybe one of the best I've seen. And she was just like, "Wow, this is so amazing." And she's not a big fan of 3D, but I think that movie made her a believer in 3D because it's so good. So much depth in that movie. And I want to say that like every movie after Thor Ragnarok was so much better in 3D. Except for Black Widow. That movie just kind of sucked all the way around. Yes, sir, I did. It's not as cool as the name Spare Change, though. Well, Cinema Lord, come on, Spare Change. I don't even listen. I don't even like the name Spare Change. Everybody's like, "Yo, make some merch." I was like, "Dude, nobody wants to wear a shirt called Spare Change. I'm not doing that." So that's why I haven't tried to pimp any merch or anything like that. Now this scene here, where they're flying over the ornithopters with Paul. Now this is nice. Now we got the ornithopters clearly in focus. We got Paul inside of the cockpit. The glass has a very nice kind of in-your-face blur. And then you got the passengers inset behind the screen. Although the exterior shots here, the sand, much softer than the 4K disc. I would say I would prefer the 4K version in this shot here over the 3D. And this looks cool. You get the ornithopters flying over to the right side of the screen, so they kind of pop out a little bit. Yeah, I mean, this is like varying degrees of depth. Cockpit shots look great. Exterior shots, 2D, and then you got other shots in the cockpit which look very flat. So I mean, this is kind of like definitely a mixed bag for sure. Look at that. This is a great shot here where you got the sunlight reflecting off of the glass and it's right in your face. And then you got the guys behind the glass, which look really awesome. And then it cuts to a different shot and it looks like it's 2D. Looks like you're watching a 2D Blu-ray. Man, this is the best one. Thor. Thor is one of my favorite 3D movies. I don't even like that movie. Listen, I know people love Thor Ragnarok, but I know people love Thor Ragnarok and they hated Thor the Dark World. I personally liked Thor the Dark World better than than Ragnarok because I thought it was had a more serious tone, especially with the dark elves at the beginning and then just blasting away, which was awesome in 3D, by the way. If you're gonna watch Thor the Dark World, watch it in 3D, better than the 4K version. That whole first chapter where they have I don't know what world they're on, the elf world or dark elf world. Such a good 3D experience. People are getting killed, and you got Odin zips in on the Rainbow Bridge. Much more serious tone. It's not as jokey as Thor Ragnarok. I'm a DC fan, so I enjoy the more serious tone of DC movies. But man, Thor Ragnarok was just such a departure from the first and second movies. I was just like, yo, you guys just went straight comedy on this one. Although the 3D was awesome. Now this is a cool scene where they're looking through the binoculars and you got the center scope, which is right in your face, and then everything is in the background, kind of like what you would see when you're looking at actual binoculars. That's an awesome little effect there. You do not get that effect in the 4K. Second here. Give me a second here. Techno Dad texting me here. Techno Dad's looking to buy a watch. What about? I watch it on PlayStation monitor, getting projector soon. Congrats on that. I remember that PlayStation 3D monitor. It was like, my brother has it. He still uses that. He uses it actually. It's like, what is it? It's like little screens like this big, right? I remember it was pretty good. It was a little small screen. He actually still has it next to his bed. "2021 theater tour, Shane." No, I think this question popped up last time too. No theater tour this year. Nothing has really changed in the theater. I have absolutely nothing new in the theater. The only thing that is new in the theater is, I think, nothing from the last tour I did. Nothing is new. I've got everything that I need so far. I mean, right now Oh, hold on a second. So here's the scene where the worm comes busting out of the sand. And I would have thought it'd be a little bit more grander looking in 3D, but it's very flat looking. It kind of lacks that grandiose extravagance I was hoping to see, but it's not there. But anyways, yeah, the no theater tour this year. No theater tour. I was saying I have like right now I've got like three different speakers. I've got I've got the PSB speakers as my surrounds. I've got the Bowers and Wilkins as my back surrounds and my Atmos. I've got a PSB as a center channel, and then I've got the Procellas as my left and right. So right now I got like three different speakers running because I've been reviewing them, and I just wrapped up the PSB speaker review last week over the weekend. So I mean, if you guys missed that review, great speakers. Like if you guys are in the market for some great sounding speakers that punch well above their price tag, check out the PSB speakers. I know a lot of people don't talk about them or like ever talk about them, but they are better sounding speakers than some of the more popular brands out there. I'm not going to name any names, but you know who they are. But yeah, if you missed that review, check it out. So here's the part where the everything is kind of dipping into the sand because the worm is coming out of the sand. Now we got Paul and Gurney going into the chopper. Poe is taking off. And this whole every shot with the glass in the foreground, awesome. Now we got the chopper in the foreground, the worm swallowing the ship in the back, the tractor in the background. That looks awesome. That looks like that looks like a 3D Marvel shot. Now the worm is swallowing the I don't know what it's called, but the spice harvester. That is a great shot in 3D that you will not get in 4K. That is a deep layer, very deep shot as well. "23 inches. You know what, man? That's what I tell my wife all the time. 23 inches. That's what it's all about. So I got the Sony on high, and it's loud. I don't know how many of you guys have projectors in the chat, but do you guys use high or do you guys use low? Isn't home theater so much fun? Much worse things you can spend money on. Home theater is a fun hobby, but I'll tell you what. I don't know what it's like for other home theater channels. But man, I got like such a diverse group of subscribers. Like, I don't know if it's because my subscribers are. I feel like they're split between movies and home theater. Like I feel like the people that are such big fans of movies, they probably don't invest too much in home theater. And then I got the home theater guys who really value home theater gear. And I feel like maybe the movie guys, they are. I mean, they might have home theaters, but I feel like they're more of a a budget. They have more of a budget mindset to them. And a lot of the stuff I review is not exactly the cheapest stuff in the world. So I'll admit that I don't review super cheap stuff. That's just that. There's just the way it's been happening. I don't know why, but I feel like I get so much hate when I review products over X amount of dollars, and then people think I review stuff like I buy everything. Like I don't. I don't buy all the stuff that I review. Some people just think I buy everything and I own everything, or they think I get everything for free, and that's not the case. So I feel like this hobby is like it can be for the people that value what you get for what you pay for. Those guys kind of get it, and they're willing to just like, they'll watch the videos, they'll enjoy the videos, they'll learn from the videos, they'll take what they can get from it, maybe use that extra information and put it towards their future purchase or purchase that whatever I'm talking about. And then there's people that are just like, oh my God, it costs how much money? They'll automatically just throw it out the window and just be like, if it's that much, it's not. You're just taking advantage of people if it's over an X amount of dollars. And man, those like I understand where that mindset comes from, but it just sucks when there's so much kind of like hatred when something goes over a certain dollar amount. Especially if we're talking about, if you guys want to see some nastiness, you go into any of my Kaleidoscape videos or go check out my Kaleidoscape review. That comment section is just like nasty, boy. When you get the physical media guys, the 4K physical media people, and they pop into my Kaleidoscape review, it's like, shit, it's crazy up in there. Hold on, now we got the scene here where we got the man chanting over the entire army of the Harkonnens. And this actually has a very nice 3D. The sun rays or the moonlight shining through the sky in 3D just looks awesome. And the fact that we've got rain that's coming in the foreground, we've got the soldiers in the background, nice, sweet, smooth, creamy bokeh shot. Guys in the foreground, middle ground, just extends all the way. This is one of the best scenes I've seen so far in this movie. Clean as well. Like I don't see any crosstalk in this scene. We've got the subtitles right here floating in my face. And rain floating foreground, soldiers way in the back. The guy from the Dark Knight in the middle. Very clean shot. One of the best shots in this movie. I'm going to give this particular scene a 10. Very clean, very great 3D depth. And that's what I mean about this transfer being kind of a mixed bag. Most of it is kind of like mid-level to low levels of 3D depth. Then you got scenes like that, which are standouts, which is a standout. What else we got here? Oh, what was I saying? Mine's definitely budget. I don't hate on you, Shane. I think you're my favorite YouTube guy. My wife puts up with my home theater habit. Man, there's some, let me tell you what. One sec here. I think my wife has given up in telling me anything. She just sees new boxes come in and she's like, new stuff? I'm like, yeah. My whole apartment is overrun with boxes. But there's some great stuff, man. There's some really good stuff that you can get for, budget dollars. And I think, some of the stuff that I've done is expensive, but I've done some pretty affordable stuff as well. And the thing that sucks, like some of this PSB stuff that I've been reviewing is a very affordable gear. And they sound better than some speakers that I've had that cost 2-3 times as much. but yet, people don't really talk about them that much, which I find very, very, very weird. Do we have any watch people in chat? Anybody in the chat collect watches? Leave a comment down below. I'm just curious. You can join in now. Shane, game's over. What's up, Alcazar? What up, Alcazar? Here we go. Zaddy, got my Kaleidoscape from Robert. Thanks to you. Yo, congrats on that, man. Kaleidoscape is awesome. Did you pick up Dune on the Kaleidoscape? Well, it's always hard to do in 3D if it's not natively shot. Couple that with active 3D, which is prone to crosstalk, makes it stand out more. I experience it with a few movies. Yes, indeed. I mean, this is the first time I think I've noticed crosstalk, at least on the Sony projector. And I watched a bunch. I think what is my favorite? I think my favorite 3D movie on this would have to be Gravity. I really like Gravity in 3D. Georgia embarrassed Alabama. I'm assuming you're talking about football. Curtis Clobberans. What's my actual job? My actual job is this right here. What you're seeing. This is my job. Talking to you guys about movies and home theater. That's my actual job. That's all I do all day. That's all I do all day. Making videos so you guys can watch on YouTube. All right, so hold on. Let's skip one more chapter. I think I've watched enough of this to make a educated review based on it. What do you thought on the new Avatar movies coming out? I really hope the new Avatar movies push technology further for displays. I hope we get 4K 3D. You know, when the first Avatar came out, 3D TVs and 3D movies had this big surge of popularity, and 3D sets were selling for like the next, 2-3 years after that, maybe 4 years. And then, everything started dying down. But the fact that we got 3D, 1080p 3D for those few years, and then we got tons of new 3D movies coming out, like once a week. And the fact that we're still getting 3D movies nowadays. Dune for one, every Marvel movie is in 3D. It's got to say something. I mean, there's still big blockbuster movies getting released all the time. And the only people that can really enjoy them are people that have older sets or projectors. I'm sure there's still people out there that would want to see Spider-Man No Way Home in 3D at their house, but they just can't because they either don't have a 3D TV or they don't have a 3D projector. So I think when Avatar 2 hopefully comes out, we get a new maybe 4K HDR 3D format which I know HDMI 2.1 100% can support. So I'm hoping that that's what Avatar brings to the table when it comes out at the end of the year. So I'm excited to see it. DLP projectors are recommended most for 3D because the glasses sync with the color wheel, meaning less crosstalk, but I'm very sensitive to the rainbow effect. Can't have it all. I'm also sensitive to the rainbow effect, but I've watched DLP enough where I can kind of ignore it. I've trained my brain to ignore it. But if I'm reviewing a DLP projector, then I can see it almost every single time. Even on the triple laser ones, I can I can see it. Whether it's usually triple lasers, you're not supposed to see it, but I can still see it for whatever reason. I can still see it. Do you think the tech for the new Avatar movies will be dated due to it taking them over 10 years to make? As far as I know, Cameron wrapped up production on his movies like last year. I think he shot it last year as well. So maybe yet last year, maybe within the past 2 years, I think he shot all the films. And the tech for 2 years ago, I mean, it's not that drastically different. Is there 4K 3D technology out there? I am not sure. I would have to look that up, but I'm sure once that movie comes out, he's going to introduce something new that's going to take the 3D format to the next level. There's no way he's not going to shoot this movie in 3D. He's not going to have Avatar 1 be 3D and these new ones not be in 3D. If not 4K HDR 3D, then I'm okay with 2D, 2K HDR 3D. Man, I am certain this man has come up with 4K HDR 3D. I don't see how he couldn't come up with 4K HDR 3D. I still own a Sony Z9D, which was the last 3D TV. These days, I just use my projector to watch 3D movies. Yeah, I think the last 3D TV I had was an LG, not, it wasn't the B1, it was whatever came out before the B1 and the C1. Or the B1, my bad. Whatever came out before the B1 was like C95 1BXL or something or another. It was before those TVs got real popular with the 2-digit nomenclature. But when I saw 3D on the OLED, I forgot, I think it was like Rogue One maybe? Or Angry Birds or something. I was just like, wow. I was like, this is the best 3D I've ever seen was on a 3D OLED. I mean, I was in my kitchen. I had a 65-inch in my living room. And I was standing in my kitchen. And that 3D came out so far into the room. My mind was blown. I was like, holy shit, this is the best 3D I've ever seen. And after that, I think, was it 2016? I think they stopped. And then 2017, there were no more 3D OLEDs or 3D TVs for that matter. And it was just done. And I think the Z9D was the last 3D set that you could buy. I don't know what 3D looked like on that set, but at least on the OLEDs, my mind was blown. I was like, oh my God, the 3D was so good on that set. I don't know how you could have a 3D OLED and not watch it and not be impressed with it. I have no idea how people, at least with TVs, just couldn't be impressed. And the fact that LGs back then in 2016, they had passive glasses. I mean, those were super light plastic glasses. They were like paper thin, or maybe not paper thin, but paper light. They just hung on your face. It was like wearing those old red and green paper glasses back in the day, or just movie theater glasses. They're super light. Like how could you complain about that? Like, And how could you not look at a 3D OLED and not be impressed? And I hate it when I hate it when I watch reviews and guys are talking about TVs about the depth on this looks like it's 3D. There's no point. I think I might have said it myself as well, just because people say it. But there's no point that any 2D television set, I don't care if it's 4K, the most expensive 4K TV you have in the world, that TV doesn't look 3D. It just can't look 3D. It's impossible to look 3D if you're in a 2D format. Does it look nice with nice black levels? Sure. But your 2D TV never has a 3D depth to it. It just doesn't. Especially if you were to compare it to the same tech in the same 3D. Same 3D in the same display tech. So I hate it when I watch like, oh my God, this movie looks like it's in 3D. Even this 4K disc looks like it's in 3D. It doesn't. It just doesn't. Cameron is using a new 3D Sony Cine Alta Venice rig. Those movies gonna go crazy, I think. It's about time we get a shakeup in the industry. Yeah, man, I can't wait. I think he said something like he was worried that people weren't going to be excited for his movies, but I think if he's got some amazing quality 3D, like the first time we saw 3D was on Avatar, at least with his movies, and that first opening shot with that little droplet of water was floating above guy's face. I was like, wow, I was like, this is the coolest shit. And then it opened up into that deep shot of the corridor of that big hallway, whatever it is, of the ship's interior, and it just seemed like it went on forever. I was like, wow, this is the best 3D I've ever seen in a movie, especially on that 3D OLED that I had. Or even on this projector. I've seen it many times on this projector as well. And every time I see it, still impressive. Still one of the best 3D movies I've seen. And it was shot natively as well. I mean, I don't know how people can't look at a 3D movie and just be like, wow. Unless you got a lazy eye and you just can't see 3D, well, I don't see how you can deny the fact that 3D, when it's done well, is just the best way to watch a movie. But let's wrap this up. Let me skip to the next chapter. We're gonna wrap up this review. That way I can cut it and edit it tomorrow. And I'll do the audio later as well. Because I did listen to this also. Anyways, guys, so my thoughts for 3D quality. Listen, I'm a big fan of 3D movies. If you've watched any of my reviews in the past, typically if I'm reviewing a 3D movie, normally I would choose 3D over 4K pretty much in every situation. This is one of those rare cases where I do feel that the 3D lacks behind the 4K transfers. My bad, I got some Stella in me. This transfer here, I did enjoy watching this transfer. I mean, we're watching it right now. This transfer has, I'm going to say, mid to low levels of 3D depth and separation. There are a few shots, which I spoke about earlier, where it looked just as good, if not equally or more impressive than a Marvel transfer. So we're talking about super deep layers of separation and depth. Stuff in the foreground, stuff in the middle, stuff in the backgrounds, where there's very deep separation, where it almost feels like you can jump into your screen. And then most of the movie is very shallow, and sometimes it just looks like it's a 2D transfer. Sometimes it looks like it's a 2D transfer. If I was going to pick a way to watch Dune, it would have to be the 4K version. Yes, it's brighter, it's sharper, it's crisper. You have very nice black levels. Although the black levels are not that much different than this as well. Possibly if you had a 3D OLED still floating around in your house, the 3D would probably look very impressive on that one. But as it stands for a 3D projection, I did notice some very slight crosstalk, which I have not noticed on any other 3D movies that I've watched in here, especially Marvel movies or Avatar, Thor Ragnarok, several other movies I've watched prior to this one. And I hadn't noticed any crosstalk, but I did notice a little bit on this one. I also noticed some instances. Fuck, I'm fucking slurring. I've also noticed some instances of banding as well, especially some of the scenes outdoors where there's less sand. I would see some banding, which I haven't noticed in any other movies or any other 3D transfers. This would be the first movie I've noticed banding, which is kind of distracting. It doesn't happen often, but some of these bright outdoor shots, you will see it, and I have noticed it. So, I mean, if I was going to give this transfer an overall score, I am going to have to give it, I'm going to give it a 7.4 as my 3D score. So 3D score for Dune 3D, 7.4. Audio-wise, I have remuxed the audio in this movie. Out of the box, it's going to come with a DTS HD 5.1 track. I will leave a link down below in the video's description if you want to learn how to remux your 3D video with the audio from either the 2D disc or 4D disc to give your 3D presentation 3D depth and also Atmos as well. But I did mix this with the Atmos soundtrack, which certified reference quality. Pick it up on 4K if you want to get the best Atmos experience or best audio experience. But as far as DTS HD 5.1, still very good bass. I mean, this Hans Zimmer score rocks. Super deep bass. If you're going to give your subwoofers a serious workout, pop in this disc. You're going to be happy with it. Although what it is lacking is going to be a lot of these overhead effects, especially with the ornithopters, where you're hearing the dirt and debris hitting the cockpit, where it comes above your head, also to the sides. You're kind of missing that 3D immersiveness, which you would think would match the 3D immersiveness of the visuals, which you're missing on this 3D disc, which is strange also because typically on Warner Brothers 3D transfers, you do get the Atmos track. Batman v Superman, Man of Steel. This movie, one of the biggest movies of 2021, missing the Atmos track on the 3D transfer. I don't understand why they're doing that or why they did that. But if I was going to give this mix a rating, I would have to give it, so I'm going to have to rate it as a 5.1 track. I can't really compare it to the Atmos track because it's not fair. But I'm going to have to give it a 9. This gets a 9 as far as being just a straight 5.1 track, if we're comparing it to other 5.1 mixes. But if we are comparing it to the Atmos version, I'm going to have to drop it down a little bit, give it like a 7.9. Still a great track, but the only way to watch this movie, the only way to listen to this movie is going to be on the 4K disc with the 4K visuals, with the Dolby Atmos track, which I think I gave it like a 9.9 and a 9.8 for audio, only because there are certain parts in this movie, either 5.1 or in Dolby Atmos, where the music can bump up and get extra loud, and dialogue does get hard to hear, whether it's by the design or not. Sometimes the dialogue can get a little bit difficult to comprehend. So those are my thoughts on this 3D transfer of Dune on 3D Blu-ray. If you guys have seen it, then leave your comments down below and let me know what you thought about this 3D transfer and which version would you like to watch, 3D or 4K. Leave your comments down below and let us know. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you again in the next video. So that's it. That wraps it up. Let me hit the stop on the record button. That wraps it for a 3D review. I still like the movie in 3D. I'm still always going to probably watch the 4K version. Every once in a while, I'll put the 3D version in, but I still prefer the 4K version. Hold on, let me stop this. What we got here? Jack Peer. What's up, Jack Peer? What movies I got here? I got Dune. Dude, I got all kinds of movies. I got a bunch of movies backed up on my Zapedi, on my hard drive. I got, you know what's pretty good is Monster Hunter 3D was actually pretty good as well. Monster Hunter with the Dolby Atmos track in 3D. Good stuff. Oh, you know what I want to pop in? You know, while you guys are here, let's pop in Candyman really quick. I didn't do like a formal review on Candyman. Even though I knew it was one of the better looking 2D movies. WB gave up on Atmos on 3D Blu-rays like 2017. I think Kong Skull Island was one of the first to do it. Really? Kong Skull Island wasn't Atmos? I could have swore Kong Skull Island was in 3D. Or it was in Atmos. Are you going to review the new Resident Evil on 4K? That was actually on my top 10 best sounding Atmos releases for 2021, even though technically the movie doesn't come out till this year. But that was one of the best sounding Atmos mixes I heard. Unfortunately, the movie kind of sucked. I don't know what it is with Resident Evil movies, but they always suck. But, okay. I don't know if you guys have watched Candyman, but Candyman is a good looking movie. Sounds really good too. What else we got here? Anything else? Anything interesting you guys want to talk about before we log off? Let me copy this for you guys. Pop it in the chat real quick. Whoops. So I know some of you guys want to know where or how you can remux your Atmos audio on your 3D discs. So that's in the comment section, which takes you to a post over on Avius Forums, which will show you how to remux your audio from your 2D or 4K discs on your 3D movies. Since we're talking about 3D movies. Candyman was good. Yeah, Candyman was alright. I did like Candyman. I like that the original Candyman, spoiler alert, I like the original Candyman does make an appearance towards the end of the movie. All right, I'm gonna log off. Anyways, guys, I'm logging off. Thanks for hanging out for the chit chat for the night. I'll see you guys in the next one. Also, look out for the